Hey everybody, how are you doing? Ky先輩なんですけれども, can you hear me? Because I want to tell you guys that there is basically a NFL draft going on right now. Congratulations. I don't know if you knew this. I don't know if you've heard about this, but I just heard about it because I looked on the internet to see what was trending right now. And lo and behold, it's this thing called the NFL draft. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have not been watching football for years. But I do have some advice for you. If you want to learn English, I swear to God, watch American football. It is the most American thing that you could possibly be doing, especially on a Sunday, maybe a Monday night as well. But honestly, draft is the only thing in the news right now if you look in American trends right now. And to me, that is just unbelievable because seriously, who watches NFL these days? Do you guys watch the NFL? If you do, please leave a comment. I would love to hear about why you watch football and why it's interesting. I haven't watched football since I was a kid, and to be honest, it was interesting when I was a kid, but when I grew up, basically in high school in America, everybody has a chance, if you're a guy, has a chance to play any sport you want, right? And American football was like the toughest, hardest, roughest sport out there. So some really skinny and not very strong, didn't do really well with that full contact football. It's kind of rough, it's kind of tough, and you can get injured really easily. And I basically had no interest in doing that whatsoever. So I never played foot. I never played football. I played basketball because I was tall, but seriously, football is just one of those American sports. Rocket Man, konbanwa. Welcome to my new segment, Trend Keikoku Trend News. And today we're talking about American football because that's what's in the news right now in America. I wonder why. I wonder why America loves football so goddamn much. It's the only country in the world that really loves football that much. And my gosh, the only thing in the top 10 for the news today is who got drafted to what team. And honestly, I do not know anything about American football these days. I have not seen football in years. So to see all these names on the news is confusing because you have to know what college they went to and you have to be kind of a fan of the team that you're looking at, like that you're rooting for. There's all this complexity that goes into it. So if you're not watching football, then basically the entire news cycle right now in America is kind of boring. Seriously, nothing else in the news but football. That is the state of Americans' minds. And I don't know if this is a good thing. I don't know if it's a bad thing, but it is what it is. So if you guys are interested in learning more about, well, our culture, I guess, and you do want to practice your English, I would recommend actually watching a lot of football because, my gosh, it one is 100% American, so like you're gonna get real Americans talking. Two, you get so many different types of Americans playing football from different areas of the country. So you'd be exposed to a lot of different accents in America. You got like the typical accents, you got Southern accents. Um, I think a lot of football, you'll start to hear more of that Southern accent come out of people. The quarterback is he's a real strong man, stuff like that. I honestly haven't talked about football in so long, but this is kind of the gag for me that I want to go out and talk about things that are trending in America, give my angle on them because I don't think that I'm the typical American. Just honestly speaking, I'm typical in other ways. I like rock and roll music and stuff like that. But there's certain parts about my culture, my country that I just don't understand. So it's weird to see my people, I guess you call them, um, go into this weird kind of uh, cult-like thinking because they really do love their team and they love their football stars. So it's really fascinating to see how the minds of Americans work. And I remember when I was in Hollywood that we were watching the Super Bowl, and we were watching the Super Bowl in the pool. 'Cause the pool had the big screen TV. So we're sitting there in the pool in the jacuzzi watching the Super Bowl, and it's kind of like, uh, why are we all watching the TV? Everybody was all gathered around, all my friends, all my neighbors, and I just kind of wanted to hang out and talk. But everybody else, especially the guys, were super paying attention to the monitor. They're just staring at that TV and they're just cheering and they're booing and they're talking about that guy shouldn't have done that, or that was a good play, or all this kind of like backseat quarterbacking. And to me, I had no interest whatsoever. It was the most surreal, it was one of the most surreal experiences I remember from being in Hollywood because I really did not feel any connection to my fellow Americans. I looked at them like aliens. Like, why do they do this? Why do they sit around and stare at a TV? And the image of a guy, especially a really fat guy, sitting around on a Sunday, staring at a TV, drinking a beer, eating some potato chips. It's so American. And it's just so not my thing. I mean, I like beer, I like potato chips, but watching other grown men run around on a field and other concussions, it's kind of just like, not my thing. It's a little too violent. It's a little too America, if you know what I mean. But hey, this is America. So if you guys are into it, you should check it out because it's going to be the most authentic experience. It could almost, it's totally different in one way because obviously, like, for example, sumo wrestling is a Japanese sport. It's different, very different, but it's similar in the sense that sumo is like 100% a Japanese sport, right? In the same way, American football is 100% an American sport. So you can kind of see the cultural differences of our people when you watch these two sports. So if you really do want to learn something about Japanese culture, you can watch sumo and you can get some insights into the culture, right? But in the same way, if you guys are really interested in American culture, watch some NFL football. And if you can, go to a game. It's crazy stuff, kind of rowdy, as they say, kind of can get violent sometimes. They say fights break out at NFL games all the time. Basically fans from the opposing teams start yelling at each other and they get into drama. I mean, this is our culture. This is literally like fans getting in fights is American. That's a daily American thing. And NFL football is one of those sports that really brings that out. I know that hockey is maybe another sport that kind of gets like that. But yeah, NFL football is just totally 100% the most American thing that you can do. So if you want to study American English, if you want to get into American culture, understanding football is kind of important, especially if you do talk to people in reality, because if you actually meet somebody from America, you'd be like, where are you from? And you're like, oh, you're a Giants fan? Some Americans really appreciate that. So if you do ever need a conversation topic to talk to somebody, when you meet an American, try football. But where do you start with football? Because it's like, what do you do when you don't know anything about football? It's almost like Japanese baseball. How do you talk about Japanese baseball? Well, start with science, right? So in football, like, I don't even know where to start for anybody. All I can say is that I'm from California. So and back when I was a kid, the closest team was the Rams, and the Rams are next to Disneyland. I kind of live next to Disneyland. So watching the Rams was kind of like, I remember going to a game. They were kind of the home team, and then there was the Raiders, but they were more in LA. So like we didn't really, well, some people actually, my school wore the Raiders hats and jackets and stuff like that. Oh, what am I saying? I think I had a Raiders jacket. No, I had a Kings jacket. What am I saying? I wouldn't wear Raiders. It was a little too Kingster because they were one of the only teams with like an all black kind of like logo and stuff like that. So this is kind of like one of those weird like cultural things where certain gangs would wear like Raiders clothing just to identify they're part of a gang and stuff like that. So in high school, you got to be careful of stuff like that because if you're not a gang, you don't want to dress like you're in a gang because you don't get in trouble, right? So you run red or blue or whatever, American culture. So anyway, choosing a team wisely is kind of a good thing to do. So Rams, local team, you can't go wrong. So if you guys ever have lived in America, it's best just to choose the team that is local to you. You know what I mean? So, like, if you're in New York, go with the Giants. If you lived in San Francisco, then you go with the 49ers. That's just what you do. I don't know a lot of people that lived in Kansas City, but if you lived in Kansas City, then you go with the Chiefs. So that is like the simplest way to kind of like establish yourself in American culture is to pick a local team or pick a team from the city that you like or the city that you've been there, and then maybe get to know just a few different players. You know what I mean? So honestly, at this day and age, the Chargers are in LA right now, and honestly, I couldn't tell you anything about them because I've been traveling the world. I've been busy living my life. Getting into sports is just not one of those things on my to do list, but nonetheless, it is part of the culture. So if you guys want to check it out, please just go ahead and look up stuff and look up some games, listen to the commentary, and kind of tune into the English and just maybe listen to player interviews and stuff like that and really get into it. You just Google anything and you will find it. Search on YouTube and you will find it. So cool. In the UK, soccer is called football. Yeah, should I say American football? I talk to American people. Yeah, I mean, if you say American football, then they'll be like, oh, you're like one of those people, huh? If you say football to an American, the first image that comes to mind is the weird shaped football, and you go long, and you get tackled, and you get a touchdown, right? That is predominantly the main image of the word football. So if you have to be clear, then yeah, you have to say American football to an American. And if you're talking to anybody else in the world, if you say football, it means soccer. So yeah, just be careful of that. So there are noises when you're talking to the audience. Why? I don't know. I don't know why there are noises. So anyway, guys, that's my news segment. I just wanted to share that info. Anyway, guys, that's my news segment. I just wanted to share that info with you because look, it's on the news. It's trending. People are talking about it. And how do you engage in the conversation? Pick a home team, stay local, and cheer for them. Know your superstar on your team. And then when you meet an American, ask about their team. That's just something else that you can do as well, because it's like, oh, I'm from LA, so I support the Chargers, but you're from New York, so you like the Giants, right? Or you're from Philadelphia, so you like the Eagles, right? It's common knowledge, almost kind of like the zodiac sign, like if you're a Pisces or if you're a Scorpio or something like that. So if you guys do want to get to know American friends, one of the ways you could do it is by talking about American, to know your fellow American friends. One of the ways you could do it is by talking about American football. Anyway, that's the end of my segment. I wanted to try this, wanted to try something new. Thank you guys for watching. Maybe if there's something else cool in the news, I'm going to be making a live stream about that. But in the meantime, it's time for dinner, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for hanging out. And then, like always, today's sponsor, if you do want to call it a sponsor, is my app. My app is called English HD. You guys can check it out right here. I put up the link. It's a cool little dictionary that looks up English words and puts them in the English color system, the English HD color system. Very cool. It's free, and you should check it out. Guys, have a good evening, and take it easy. Peace. End.